our past and the hopes of our future, majestic and resilient. Their slow melt echoes a loud warning. The time to act is not tomorrow, but now. A warm and resounding greetings to our distinguished global audience. This is Risha Mukherjee, a proud scholar of Kerala Public School, India, and your host for the event. It is a rare privilege of our school to be a part of the launch of International Year of Glacier Preservation 2025, hosted by the World Meteorological Organization, Geneva, Switzerland. This event is not just a milestone, it is a movement, a call to protect those silent sentinels of Earth, and their preservation is not merely a scientific goal, it is a moral imperative. Kerala Public School is deeply committed to this cause. Our carefully curated events are designed to spark meaningful actions that will ripple into a future where glaciers remains, not as memories, but as enduring symbols of life and balance. I now call upon our principal, Mrs. Sharmila Mukherjee, to take the virtual stage and deliver the opening address.
Respected members of the World Meteorological Organization, distinguished guest speakers, and the global audience gathered here today. This moment feels nothing short of historic, a call that transcends borders, uniting us to protect one of the Earth's most virtual treasures, its glaciers. To stand on this platform as part of the International Year of Glacier Preservation 2025 is both an honor and a humbling experience. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sulagna Mishra, Scientific Officer of WMO, for placing her faith in us and graciously allowing our school participation in this event. Your inclusivity, Dr. Mishra, reflects the very spirit of this initiative, where every voice, no matter how small, contributes to the power of a global effort. To the remarkable team at WMO, thank you for your tireless dedication and for inspiring us to play our part in this critical mission. I also wish to express my deepest appreciation to our esteemed guest speakers, Dr. S.N. Remia, for her groundbreaking research in climate resilience, Professor Chetan Singh Solanki, whose advocacy for sustainable energy solutions inspires millions, and Mr. Hemant Gupta, a star expeditioner and an environmental advocate. Your insights enrich this initiative immeasurably. As educators, we have the privilege and the duty to ignite young minds a passion for sustainability and care for our planet. Together, let us take bold strides to ensure a better, safer, and more sustainable future. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now it is with immense honor and privilege that I introduce Dr. S.N. Remia, Assistant Professor at the School for Sustainable Features, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, a towering figure in the field of glaciology and a beacon of scientific excellence in India. With over 7 years of research at IISc Bangalore, Dr. Remia has made significant strides in glaciology, particularly her work on the glacial lake outburst flood potential of South Lona Glacial Lake and the development of India's first automated glacial lake monitoring system. Her research shed light on the critical effects of climate change and human activity on glaciers. Dr. Remia's distinguished achievements, including the Nehru Grimson Fellowship, establish her as a leading expert in the field. Today, we honor to hear Dr. Remia's talk on mountain disasters, role of climate change. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity. Good morning to you all. So I am Ramya, working as an assistant professor in the School for Sustainable Futures in the Amrita University. So as you mentioned, my name is Ramya. I'm working as an assistant professor now in the School for Sustainable Futures in the Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kerala campus. So I'm basically a glaciologist with 10 plus years of experience in the Himalayan glaciers, and I started exploring the glaciers in the Arctic region, especially the rock glaciers in the form of permafrost. Last year, I was a part of Indian Arctic expedition, and I have visited Arctic. So mainly, I use satellite technology as a tool to monitor the glaciers and especially the glacial lakes. I had some experience during my master's onwards. I was working on the glacier. So like I come to the topic today, like mountain disasters, like role of climate change. It's a broad topic. So we know that mountains are larger than hills and thus formed due to the tectonic plates movements and also the volcanic eruption. It's a landform rises above the surroundings, usually with a steep sides and sharp peaks. So these are called mountains, and we have mountains all over the world in many places like Alps, Andes, and we have a mountain in the Himalaya, well known. So, what are the importance of mountains? Like 1/8 of the world population people is living in the mountains, and 1/4 of the world landscape is mountainous. We know, and half of the world people rely on mountain watershed for the fresh water, especially the glacier and ice sheets. 3/4 of the world countries have mountain ranges or high plateaus, and this is important. 2 billion people depend on the mountains for food, hydroelectricity, timber, or other mineral resources. So the like nowadays the debatable topic in all the places is like climate change. So it is almost like mountain ecosystem. What we provide us is like water, forest, then it's a carbon storage and cultural values. Due to the global warming, it is affected in the mountains also. The direct impact is like the precipitation changes in the mountains. We know that the precipitation in terms of rain and snow has been, the season has been changed over a, we should say that over a 2 decadal scale, and especially last 5 years in the Himalayas. And also the increasing temperature. So increasing temperature is more common in the Himalaya nowadays. Even the winter temperature is also started increasing, and we have less snow instead of like more snow. So the indirect impact is like, as we know, the decreasing of diversity in this region, and also the climate-induced hazards, especially the landslide and glacial lake outburst flood, debris flow, and the other floods are very common in this region. So this altering this habitat also, like the declining of livestock populations and poverty, food, nutrition, health, and all those things are also the impact of this effect of climate change global. And what we can do is the adaptation options in the mountains region. So like promote water harvesting, then promote conservation of this ecosystem, then agroforestry practices like new plants there also we should build to prevent the soil erosion. Then also the products mountains are also promote because it's a part of a tourism place also. So coming to the climate change impact on mountains, these are the major hazards like we see in mountains, like melting of glaciers. It induced glacial lake outburst flood, and also the change in snow cover. It induced sometimes avalanches, because avalanches is something like it's a like sudden flow of ice on the top of a hill, like on a steep slope. It actually reaches very fast, and sometimes it will reach in the infrastructure and the road areas. Then landslide, like as we see that in the Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand region, landslides are very common during the monsoon. And these are all due to the rise in temperature and change in snowfall and soil erosion. The forest degradation are the other impact of disasters in the mountains. So coming to the glaciers, like as my topic is glaciers, so I talk more on the glaciers and associated disasters. So glaciers, we know, the 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 cover total global coverage water, the 96% are ocean water, saline water. In that we get only 2.5 percentage only as fresh water. In that also 68 to 70% are glacier. The water, fresh water, is from the glaciers and ice sheet. So these are the importance to preserve glaciers. Then it's more on the form of like ground ice and the permafrost. Like we know that in the many places like North and South Pole, and even in the Himalayas we have the glaciated landforms. So the glacier covers around like 7 lakhs kilometer square, and it holds a volume of like 16 million cubic kilometer. So these are the importance of glaciers to preserve. Like it's an important storage of water, fresh water storage in this region. Then this is one more important thing is hydropower generation. In India, 70% of hydropower is generated from the glacier melt water. Then also the ecotourism, like most of these regions in the mountains are actually common for the ecotourism. So these are the economic impact of the glacier associated landform regions. And of course, like farmers, like 2 million farmers are relying on the glacier melt water in this mountainous area. So coming to the Himalaya, so Himalaya, we call it as third pole, like the north and south pole, we call it as north-south pole, Arctic and Antarctic. And Himalaya, other than ice storage is there in the Himalaya, we call it as third pole or the water tower of Asia. So it's like youngest mountain in the range, and 15,000 glaciers are located in this region. We know major rivers like Ganges, Indus, Brahmaputra are originating from the terminus of the glaciers from this Himalaya. Then why glaciers are important? As we have seen, like freshwater reservoir, ecosystem, and it regulate the climate in the region, and also the cultural and economic significance. And also we can say that the geomorphologically also it's important, because those who are study the paleo aspect, we get a lot of imprints and paleo aspect in the Himalaya to date that okay, these are the paleo imprints in the earth. So coming to the importance, we have 4 global biodiversity hotspots in the Himalayas, and 10 major Asian river system, and diverse culture and high biodiversity. These are the main factors like when we study Himalaya. Then coming to the glaciers, a small overview. What is glacier? It's a large mass of ice flowing with due to under a slope and influence of gravity on a rock. We call it as a large mass of ice, and it will be around thickness of 100 meter to more than 500 meter of thickness. It flow under a gravity influence of slope. So this is actually, I work on the satellite image. This is like Gangotri Glacier, how the glacier movements when we see. So we have actually did this animation using the satellite image of 20 years. So in this itself, we can say that how the glaciers are melting and moving towards to the river. So this is from the USGS site. I have just clipped this image. So coming to the Gangotri Glacier, like this is a Gangotri Glacier, and Gomukh is the terminus of the glacier. Most of the people know about this glacier. Like I just wanted to show you how the glacier looks like. So coming to the glaciated ranges in the Himalaya, like we have categorized ranges from the western to eastern Himalaya, like Karakoram and western Himalaya ranges are in the Kashmir and the other Himachal Pradesh ranges. And coming to the central region of India, like Uttarakhand is included in the central Himalaya. Then also the eastern Himalaya includes the Arunachal Pradesh and the Tibet region. So why we studied glaciers, how we studied. So that is what we researchers study glaciers using satellite image. Why? Because reaching to the Himalayan glaciers is really tough, because one glacier, if you study, to reach to the glacier, it takes 5 days minimum trekking and staying there and do the measurements. Then it's actually the cost effective, then time consuming, as well as it's very much risky, because the terrain is not so good. It's in a high altitude, plus the climate is also harsh. So what we do is we use satellite images. Nowadays we are getting better resolution images and study over these images, and we do visit 1 or 2 glaciers to validate our results. When we measure the glacier thickness, glacier velocity, and the other things, when we go to the glacier, 1 or 2 glaciers, and validate these measurements are correct or not. This is what we do in our area. So coming to my special topic, I have researched from my master's about glacier lake outburst. Glacier lake outbursts are nothing but when the glacier melts, the nearby topography is over deepening. Then it actually the melt water occupy there and form as a glacier lake. And over a melt water is over, then it outbursts and reach this melt water to the settlement region, to the downstream. So this is called as glacier lake outburst flood. It's called as a mountain tsunami, and these are the ticking bombs in the Himalaya. We don't even get to know that when it happens, if you don't have proper monitoring of this. So this Kedarnath disaster is the one of the main disaster India has heard. 2013, 10,000 people lost their life, and many people lost their home and inhabitants. Then these are the left side. I have shown you the figure, like, how important to study this disaster, because how it happens. So this is a glacial lake, like you can see. So glacial, if the glacial lake is outflowing, then any triggers from the outsource, like, any debris flow from the mountains, because these are located near the peak mountains, then also the avalanches and other triggers can actually, like, trigger this glacial lake outburst event. So this is what a schematic diagram to show how the glacial lake is formed and how GLOF can trigger. So after this disaster, like, when I master time, we have studied one more lake in the Sikkim. This is also like South Lonak Lake. This has been expanding like over a period of time, like, one square kilometer to 1.2 square kilometer. So we have studied over a decadal scale, like, how the glacial lake is expanding. So we have a couple of papers in this, and we reported to the even through the news media to the government. So the government has taken some initiative to do the mitigation measurements and install the early warning system. Later on, some people from the Sikkim government has taken a siphoning system to drainage this lake around like 20 to 30 meter. But these systems are not actually, like, maintaining in the Himalayas. So unfortunately, this lake has been outbursted, like, after our paper has been published 2013, the last year we have seen that this lake has been outbursted. And 2024, like in October, so these are the work, like, we are still working on this. What are the triggers for this? So the September 23, this lake was perfectly all right. When we see September 2023, so you can see that we have used different satellite images like radar image and optical image. When you see the figure 3, like, you could see the after outburst, this part of the moraine breach, from this only lake water has been drained to the Tista river, and the river has been flooded. We lost around like 26 army men from this disaster. And this is what, like, the things in mountains happening when we don't have, even though we have alert, and, like, we don't monitor proper. So this is the schematic diagram on the right side, the stable lake. And that day it was a cloud burst over 1 week. Then around with the cloud burst, a mass movement from the side of the peak, also from small avalanche from the glacier also causes disaster. So we are actually communicated this as a publication, so it will come out soon. So, like, you will come to know about the later on effect. So moving forward, like, only like I had specific time, I think, like, I have taken more time. So this much only I can explain one disaster, like this is common in this. So these are the disasters in the Himalaya, like how we can actually control, like, we all, like, make papers and publish papers and alert people. The next step is how we can actually communicate this to the policy and to the people living in the downstream to support them, the disaster risk reduction or something. So we need continuous monitoring, advanced technology, and community engagement. That is very important, because people living in the mountain are still not aware of the, like, disaster they are facing. So these are the things, like, we have to carry forward climate disasters to control it. So with this, I'm just ending my talk. Thanks a lot.
We now open the floor for any questions or interactions. You have 1 minute to ask your questions. So feel free to raise your hand and make most of this opportunity. To ask questions, please click the hand icon button.
Dr. May, if nobody is asking, I have one question, if I can go ahead. You said these are also ticking time bombs, in the such kind of lakes, which there is a potential to outburst. Any idea of how many such lakes will be there, which is at potential of outburst in, let's say, couple of years?
So, like, I just, like, we have a lot of, like, more than 3,000 lakes. Such lakes are in the Himalayas. So, like, what our problem is, like, once we actually make this, then we don't know the status of the lake, like, to reach to the lake, because then particular lake, when we have work, we even had a field work, we actually, like, confirmed that the satellite image, what it is giving, it is correct there. So even though we did some measurement, but we cannot predict this disaster, like, on timely. So what we can do is, like, as you are also working, Chetan sir, also, like, I know that you are also working in the sustainability. So what we can do is, like, community level disaster risk reduction program, like, where this is already started in the other countries, especially in our near countries also, Nepal and Bhutan also. So we don't have such initiative to conduct the studies, like, much more in a community level. So this is what, like, the bridge we have to connect with, and also the policy.
We are profoundly grateful for your presence, Dr. Remia. Your dedication to the field of glaciology inspires us all to push the boundaries of knowledge and responsibility towards our planet. Thank you for being here today and for enriching this gathering with your expertise and passion.
Thanks a lot.
We are honored to welcome our next guest speaker, Professor Chetan Singh Solanki, the Solar Man of India, a visionary pioneering solar energy to combat climate change and protect our planet's glacier. Through his bold Energy Swaraj Yatra, traveling across country on a solar-powered bus for 11 years, and his transformative Souls project, he has brought clean energy to millions. Professor Solanki's relentless effort inspired a shift to renewable energy, offering hope to reverse the damage to our ecosystems. Today, we hear from a leader whose mission goes beyond lightening homes. It's about safeguarding our planet's future.
All right, so thank you very much. Very briefly, I'm going to take forward the discussion what Dr. Emya has already said for us. That is global warming, glacier melting, and corrective actions. To the time that was given to me, I'm going to be very brief, but I'm going to give broad picture about the whole issue and the problem and how are we going to correct it. By the way, I am a professor at IIT Bombay. I'm a married person. I have 2 daughters, but I have left my home for 11 years. And I live in this bus. Right now, I'm sitting in my bus, by the way. It's parked in Indore. And we are working on an Indore climate mission. We're trying to set Indore city as a role model for the whole world, how actually the cities can tackle the issue of climate change. Well, let us all understand that the foremost and the fundamental thing that drives the whole world is use of energy. It is the energy that is everything, and everything is energy. I keep saying the world is a play of energy, in a philosophical terms also. So much so that there are 17 sustainable development goals, and each one of that has direct connection with energy. So whether it is poverty, hunger, health, education, literacy, or even goal number 13, climate change, or even 16 and 17, the peace and partnership, all are driven by energy. So energy is everything, and everything is energy. What we have to understand is how we are playing this game of energy in this modern world. Well, this picture actually tells you the story of modern humans of last 225 years, that we started using carbon-based energy when we started to industrialize ourselves way back in 1850. Before 1850, the entire human life used to run 100% on renewable energy sources. But we started using coal in 1850, and we started using crude oil in 1900, and then gas in 1950. But look at how fast energy transition has happened, and there is an exponential growth in energy. Today, as I'm talking to you, we are using coal, oil, gas, solar, wind, biomass, hydro, nuclear, all kind of energy resources we are using. But look at these 3 curves, coal, oil, and gas. They put together is almost 80 to 85% of energy consumed in the world. The problem with the coal, oil, and gas is that they are all made out of carbon, and every time when we use carbon or carbon-based fuel, it results in carbon dioxide. So when we are traveling, when we are eating food, when we are wearing a cloth, when we are wearing a shirt, or using a furniture or cement or concrete, every material we use energy, and every time when we use energy, it results in carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide we are all pumping in the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is finite. Our science is growing, technology is growing, economy is growing. Atmosphere is not growing. For the God's sake, I think the world humans should realize right now that atmosphere is not growing. What we have done, we have made atmosphere as our dumping ground. Every carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases that we all generate, we dump in the atmosphere. As a result of that, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing and increasing and increasing. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there is a 52% extra carbon dioxide sitting in the atmosphere. 52%. Because carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, it results in a greenhouse effect, which means trapping of the heat. 52% extra carbon dioxide means 52% extra capacity of the planet to trap the heat. As a result of that, planet is becoming warmer and warmer and warmer. You all must be aware that 2024 has been declared as the warmest year in the human history by World Meteorological Organization. Warmest year. As we are growing, temperatures of the planet is also growing, but the size of the planet is not growing. Let us all realize that this increasing global temperature is resulting in a more ice melting and glacier melting that is giving rise to sea level, that is changing the weather system, that is causing floods, as Dr. Remy has mentioned, all kind of disaster. Unfortunately, not this, the glaciers melting can also result in a positive feedback loop, which means because of the global warming, more glacier will melt. Because more glacier will melt, more global warming will happen, and that more global warming will result in further melting of glaciers. So it will set the positive feedback loop, and some point of time, it will become beyond humans to do anything to correct the climate change. Time is running out. Whatever we want to do, we have to do it right now. Well, that's a problem. What we have to do right now? What is the solution that we all must follow? Well, simple. Stop ever increasing consumption. As simple solution as this. Why? Because as I keep saying, science is growing, technology is growing, economy is growing. Size of our planet is not growing. This ball that is hanging in the air is not growing as our wishes and our desires are growing and our comfort is growing. As a result of that, we are consuming far too many things. There is a data that tells you there is called Earth Overshoot Day. Earth Overshoot Day tells you that the humans right now on this planet are using resources equivalent of 1.7 Earth. That 1.7 Earth can regenerate. Unfortunately, we are only one Earth, which is not growing. Also, let us realize that when we are earning more, when we develop in technology, when our business increases, when my salary increases, only my capacity to purchase increases. Nature's capacity to supply does not increase. Nature's capacity to supply always remain finite. So, ladies and gentlemen, please understand that whatever you do to solve the problem of climate change, there's only one solution: limit the consumption. Is limited, and every resource is limited. So, what we have to do? We have to switch from the wrong energy, the carbon-based energy, because this is a carbon-based energy that is creating all kind of problem. So, we have to switch from the wrong energy to the right energy, the clean energy, the solar energy. Because we exist because of the sun. The entire life on this planet of every creature exists because of the sun. And we have lost the track, and we have based coal, oil, and gas as basis of our life. That is not going to work for a very long time. What you have to do? We have to come back to the solar energy. So we have to go away from the wrong energy, carbon-based energy, come to the right energy, but you have to do in the right way. You can't blindly put blindly electric vehicle everywhere. No, you have to use the right way. I call that right way is AMG way. Avoid, minimize, and generate. A is avoid what is avoidable. And there are lots of things that humans do not need. And a lot of people have so many clothes in their cupboard, they don't need it. So, so many people are actually wasting electricity, they don't need it. One person may need one car, but people are having 3 cars. People are having multiple houses. No, Earth is finite and resources are finite, so consumption has to be finite. First thing you have to do is avoid what is avoidable. At my home, I'm a professor of IIT Bombay. At my home, there is no refrigerator, there's no geyser, there's no air conditioner, there's no microwave. I stopped ironing my clothes. Not because I cannot afford. As a professor of IIT Bombay, I can afford, but nature cannot afford. And that's why it is important to avoid. In English, we say prevention is better than cure. We are all focusing on cure. We are all trying to develop technology. We are all trying to make policy, but fundamental lies in limiting consumption. Avoid what is avoidable. If you cannot avoid, minimize it. Minimize with the energy efficiency. Use everything efficiently. Use efficient lights, efficient fans, efficient washing machine, efficient microwave, efficient air conditioner. Everything is available in an efficient version that can cut down on our energy needs, which means that can cut down on carbon emission. So minimize is a second step, and G is last. G means generate. AMG, avoid, minimize, generate. G is the last step. Generate locally whatever is needed. Only generate locally, AMG. Then only you can actually create a sustainable future. And I keep telling jokingly that if you don't follow AMG, you will have to say OMG, oh my God, solar is expensive. Oh my God, this is not possible. Oh my God, that is not possible. So let us move away from wrong energy to the right energy, but in the right way, AMG way. And when we follow AMG, we actually go towards energy independence, or what I call is energy Swaraj, energy self-discipline, energy self-reliance. And energy self-reliance is what can solve the problem of the world. The whole world needs to adopt energy independence. But all this has to be done at the right time, because glaciers are melting, global warming is happening, climate is changing, which means we don't have luxury of hundreds of years and 50 years and 40 years. No, we have to act right now. We are already late. Climate correction should have started day for yesterday. We are already late. Let us start doing it. Let us start limiting our consumption right now. Let us start moving from wrong energy to the right energy. Let us start using the right way of using energy and material, the AMG way. Let us do it right now. I believe that is the solution. Then and then only, if we do not put our 100% energy behind stopping the climate change and global warming, then I believe, and I'm afraid, that we are doing too little for a huge problem that is not only about the global warming and climate change anymore, but ultimately this is about survival of human life. I hope people all over the planet will understand the seriousness of the issue and will start taking the right action at the right time in the right way. So with this note, thank you so much for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity to share what I believe is the problem and the solution of global warming, climate change, and stopping glacier melting. Thanks a lot.
Now we have a minute time for the audience to ask their questions, if any.
I
Can
think
I
you
go
can
ahead?
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, it was a wonderful talk, like, like the energy proper and the way you live to consume energy and all these things, it's really impressive. So I just have a question, like in India, or not even India, like, are we actually giving and getting like awareness towards this energy consumption, like, related to global warming? Because most of the people still, like, we have, okay, things like, we use motor vehicles, we use all these facilities, as you said, like, you don't have like any electrical instrument equipments at home, so but still we are using it. So, like, how can we actually like, make this as, like, at least a, like, people, those who are actually aware of this and consciously they can support for this? And also,
Well,
my second question is, like, related to energy. So I always think, like, I work in Himalaya, so the solar energy is, like, more prominent in Himalaya because we are in high altitude. And also wind energy, we get the wind also in a very high speed, and the geothermal energy source. So we are not utilizing this energy as we have the energy sources. Like, do you think, and do you have any views for this?
Yeah, thank you for putting the question. The first question about the energy awareness, and that energy is the cause of climate change, and energy does not mean using petrol, diesel, or electricity, but it also means wearing shirt, eating food, brushing teeth, furniture, cement, concrete, road, house. Every single thing that we touch in our life has consumed energy, which means it has resulted in a carbon emission. So I'm on 11 years journey, leaving my home and job and everything, only to bring sense that, hello everyone, whether you're rich or poor or American or African or young or old or rural or urban, every individual on the planet is contributing to the climate change, every individual. And therefore every individual has to be part of the solution. It it cannot be solved by technology, it cannot be solved by economic growth. Let us wake up and realize, last 20-30 years we have been making policies, Paris Agreement, COP meeting, electric vehicle, green hydrogen, solar, but all this thing is increasing. Policy is there, technology is growing, economy is growing, but the problems are growing even faster. So wake up and realize that these are not the solution. What is the solution? As I said, the fundamental solution is recognizing the fact that the size of our planet is finite, the resources are finite, and therefore consumption has to be finite. This awareness, as you rightly said, is very poor, but I believe that many organization individuals should come forward, act as a role model to bring this awareness as fast as possible, because we are taking a wrong pleasure in recognizing that electric vehicle or solar actually can be a solution. Yes, they are good technologies, but until unless you limit the consumption. And ultimately, we, as I said before 1850, we used to live 100% on renewable energy. We have to get 100% back to renewable energy again. In Hindi, there is a saying, जहाज का पंछी रास्ता भटक जाए तो वापस जहाज पर आना पड़ता है. When a bird of the ocean, if in the ocean, it is on the ship, if he loses the track, he has to come back to the ship. There is no other place for him to sit. Human life exists because of the sun. We have to get back to the sun 100%. And solar energy is abundantly available everywhere on this planet. Everybody can fulfill their needs 100% solar. By the way, my bus, it runs on solar. I have developed a school in Madhya Pradesh called Education Park, 14-acre campus. Since 2010, there is absolutely no connection inside the campus. It's all run 100% solar. So yes, it is indeed possible. Solar energy technology is very evolved, very efficient, and now it is also very cost effective. So I don't think it is a matter of choice whether we should use solar or not. It is the compulsion of modern life in the context of global warming and climate change. We have no other choice than to rely on solar energy 100%. Making it as the highest priority is what is the need of the hour.
Thank you, sir. I think I'll be in connect with you. I have some ideas about this. I'll be in touch with you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Professor Solanki, thank you for being with us today. Your trailblazing work in the solar energy and your contributions to a brighter, greener future are really impactful. Up next, we have Mr. Hemant Gupta, an exceptional mountaineer and environmental advocate, whose deep connection with glaciers and the Himalayas make him perfect guest speaker for the International Year of Glacier Preservation 2025, having summited Mount Everest in 2017 and actively participated in conservation initiatives in the Himalayas region and along Ganges. Mr. Hemant brings first-hand experience and insights into the urgent need to protect our fragile glacier ecosystems. As the head of the Tata Steel Adventure Foundation, he combines his expertise in outdoor leadership with a passion for environmental protection, inspiring others to take action for a sustainable future. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thanks. Good morning, everyone. It's my privilege to be here. And as Dr. Ramya spoke and Chetan sir spoke about his journey. So, Chetan sir, I met you in Jamshedpur when you came here to visit Jamshedpur and Tata Steel. And Ramya ma'am, you shared your experience from the glaciology and how you are studying a lot of glacier across the world. So I'm a Hemant Gupta. I have done my BTech from IIT Bombay. I did my bachelor's from metallurgical engineering. I graduated in 2011 and I joined Tata Steel. But to follow my passion for mountaineering and outdoor sports, I switched to Tata Steel Adventure Foundation, and I was on a lot of mountaineering expeditions. So in next 4 to 5 minutes, I will be bringing my first-hand experience when I was climbing a lot of peaks across the world and how the climate change has especially impacted the mountain ecosystem and also the glaciers over there, because it's all the actions which we as a humans do on the plains, we as a humans do at the sea level. It also impacts all the poles, be it our 2 poles and the Himalayas, which is also called as a 3rd pole. So next slide. So for past 8-9 years, I have been to a lot of expeditions. I have been to a lot of mountaineering climbs, be it in Himalayas. I have been to climbs in Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh. I have been in Nepal. I went to Aconcagua, in Andes also. And throughout the climbs, we could see that how the glaciers are changing over the period of time. So next slide. So I think everyone knows that Everest and the Himalayas is also called the 3rd pole. And I was fortunate that I could attempt to climb the Mount Everest, which is the highest peak of the world. And my first attempt to climb Everest was in 2015. And if all of you remember, there was a big disaster in Nepal. There was a big earthquake in Nepal. And because of that earthquake, there was a lot of avalanches which got triggered. And we were very lucky that I was very lucky that I got survived in the earthquake and the avalanches. But in the whole Nepal, there were more than 10,000 people who lost their lives. And even in the base camp, there were 16 people who had to lose their lives. And just to share the experience, if you can see this picture, I was at the camp 2. Camp 2 is roughly 6,500 meters above the sea level. And when you are climbing high, like in the mountaineering, like as Ramya ma'am was also mentioning, that when you go to the high altitude, you have to acclimatize. It's very difficult. Just to approach the glacier and the base camp, it takes 7 to 8 days. And when you climb more and more, you have to acclimatize because the air pressure is low. Just to imagine that height of the Everest is roughly the height of the height where the altitude where the planes fly or where the jets fly. So to reach there, you have to acclimatize. If all of us who are connected right now, if we put ourselves in the flight and if we land on the summit of the Everest, we all will die in a minute, because right now our bodies are not acclimatized or adaptable to such a high altitude. But what we do because of due to like after doing a lot of acclimatizations, you go up and then you come down and slowly you get acclimatized. So this is what we were doing when we were in 2015, and there was a big earthquake and we were in camp 2. There were avalanches, and now a lot of avalanches has been triggered in the mountains and in lot of avalanches and landslides. So the next slide. So even this is a Gangotri glacier. This is the Gomukh. I was going to an expedition to Mount Bhagirathi, and while interacting with a lot of villagers, a lot of locals over there, they said that the whole glacier has been receding very fast. Over the years, it has been receded to more than 10-15 kilometers, and the rate is alarming. And in the end, we need to realize that glaciers are our perennial sources of the river, because all the civilization, all the people who are living in the plains, the rivers come through the mountains and the glaciers. And if the glacier starts going away, and it's a global phenomenon, it's not that it's happening at the local region, across the world. Especially there are few countries where we are seeing that glaciers are completely going away. For example, the Venezuela, I think now there was a research that Venezuela is now, there are no glaciers. So even this, you can see the Gomukh glacier, it's melting very fast. Next slide. Yeah. So again, this is the pictures of the Everest expedition. Next slide. So there was one video which I wanted to share, but next slide. So you can do next. So unfortunately, as I'm not able to share my screen, so we'll skip it. But in the you can, yeah, in the video I was there was a bird's eye view of the Khumbu glacier. Maybe if the people are interested, you can also do it a YouTube search, or even there was one video of how we climbed. So how we cross the ladders and like cross the crevasses. Next, this is my picture on the summit of Everest. Next slide. But when I was climbing all those mountains, I was also upheld by the lot of human waste which has been carried over to the mountain, and how it has been impacting the ecosystem over there. So you can see the so like I don't know if any one of you have read the articles, like Everest has become the highest dumping ground. So how the human waste, when the people go there for the mountaineering expeditions, how the waste has been there and how people leave it. The next slide. So to take steps at my level to what I can do at my level, we and with the Tata Steel, we had done a lot of initiatives and expeditions. So one expedition we did a rafting expedition from Haridwar to Patna. It was almost a month-long journey where we were rafting on the river Ganges, and we started from Haridwar and we went all the way till Patna. It was 1,500 kilometers journey. Next slide. And throughout the expeditions, we did cleaning drives on a lot of ghats along the river. We interacted with lot of local people, and throughout the expedition, like on the whole stretch, there were a lot of cities like Prayagraj, Kanpur, Patna, Varanasi, Buxar. So all of their places we stopped and we did the cleaning expeditions. Next slide. So this expedition was flagged off by our Honorable President of Prime Minister of India. Next slide. Next slide. Next. Yeah. Next slide. So throughout this expedition, we collected more than 55,000 kilograms of waste. We spread the awareness to a lot of people from the community, a lot of school children. We interacted with more than 60,000 people, and all this expedition was given a lot of importance in the ecosystem. Previous slide. Can you go to the previous slide? Apart from this, I am also working on the project which is more in the interiors of the Himalayas, where we are working on the sustainable trails and the preservation of trails in the Himalayan region. So, for example, now a lot of people are going to the treks and expeditions, but slowly it's also impacting our mountain trails. So we are working on the zero waste trails, where we are trying to collect the waste, segregate it, and also trying to uh, uh, dispose it there, like how to minimize it first, and then whatever the waste is generated, it's properly either going to the recycling, or we are composting it, the organic waste, and the waste which cannot be recycled, and how we are disposing it responsibly. So as next slide. So I think the whole glaciers, we have realized how important it is, and at every step, like as an individual, we need to take a lot of steps. And Chetan sir already mentioned about reducing the consumption, because in the end, if we can reduce the whole consumption, it will it will be a snowball effect and everything, because in the end, atmosphere is limited, so it will change. So, but like we need to reduce our carbon footprint, like to use public transport, use renewable energy, conserve the water at our, like reduce the waste, reduce, recycle, reuse, adopt a sustainable lifestyle, reforestation, and also create the education and the awareness for the whole system. And I think this whole session and this whole initiative will only add to it. So I had the limited time. That's it from my side. And if anyone has any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and insightful talk. Your dedication to preserving our planet's glacier have left us deeply motivated to act for a sustainable future. Now, as we transition to next segment, we are thrilled to present a thought-provoking showcase by our talented students titled Glaciers, Earth Cooling System. First, Tripti Kumari will highlight the importance of glaciers, followed by Janvi Kumari addressing the threats they face today. Let us give them our full attention as they delve into this vital topic.
Glaciers, described as majestic rivers of ice, are far more than frozen landscapes. They are the keystones of life on Earth, influencing weather, sustaining ecosystems, and ensuring water security for millions. Even for those of us living far from these icy giants, their impact is deeply woven into our daily lives. Ice acts like a protective cover over the earth and our oceans. These bright white spots reflect excess heat back into space and keep the planet cooler. Glacier melt releases nutrients into lakes, rivers, and oceans, which can support aquatic and marine food chains. Glacier melt can sustain stream habitats for plants and animals. Why does melting of glaciers matter to us? Glaciers store the fresh water which we depend on, regulate the carbon and nutrient cycles, and act as buffers against climate extremes. Without them, communities lose their water supply, agriculture suffers, and biodiversity faces irreversible damage. Now, I would like to call upon Janvi to address the gathering about the threats of glacier melting.
Glacier, often called the current center of the planet, the action and phenomena creation. When melting is constantly functioning the carbon in the air, that is very important in nature's level. This conforms starting system, radiating warming, rapid and warming theory, metal minerals, creating laboratory and sparkling potential environments open to shared resources. Imagine entire community using their roots, cultures, and heritage. This is what it is all happening in the older races, trying further across, release of greenhouse gases. Why? To reduce sunlight reflection, amplifies global warming, and hindering the cycle of destruction. Glaciers can also cause floods. Getting any downstream, glaciers regulate can move their way dams, catastrophic floods. Hazard seems to be increasing in some places as glacier plates expand as a result of glacier shrinkage.
We now swiftly transition to Voices of Youth. Today, 9 students from Kerala Public School will each suggest one innovative idea on combating glacier melting and protecting our planet's precious ice resources. Following this, we will also take a unified pledge to contribute towards preserving our environment. Let's begin.
Imagine technology that mimics nature's genius, photosynthesis. By converting CO2 into fuel, we can address two major challenges: reducing greenhouse gases and creating sustainable energy. Scientists are already developing artificial photosynthesis systems, but technology alone isn't enough. It must be paired with global commitment to restore our ecosystems and rethink our consumption habits.
Let's recall the days of the COVID-19 lockdown, which offered a unique glimpse into how reduced human activity can impact our environment. Working from home helps reduce the heat in cities by cutting down on car emissions and office activities. With fewer people commuting and fewer office lights and equipment running, urban areas stay cooler. It also leaves less waste, leading to less paper use and fewer disposable plastics from office lunches. These simple changes help to lower our impact on environment, slow climate change, and protect glaciers. Fast fashion carbon footprints. The production of synthetic fabric like polyester relies on fossil fuels, adding to climate crisis. Discarding one garment produces 15 to 20 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Compared to the carbon footprints created by fashion industries, we all buy fewer and higher quality clothes that last longer. We can also organize clothing swaps and thrift shopping events at school to promote reuse. This can play a small but a meaningful role in the global effect to limit climate change and ultimately helping in the prevention of glaciers.
Green technology. Deploy technologies to capture carbon dioxide from industrial process and store them underground or use them in other applications like enhanced oil recovery and mineralization. Enhanced natural carbon sink, such as afforestation and reforestation projects. Direct air capture systems use machines to remove carbon dioxide directly from the atmosphere, reducing greenhouse gases that contribute to glacier melting. By adopting and scaling these green technologies globally, we can change the pace of climate change, helping to preserve glaciers.
I suggest using vertical farming on your glaciers as this will help the environment to slow down the glaciers melting and absorb carbon dioxide. It is the most unique and effective way of vegetation to combat the effects of the climate change on glaciers.
The 1 degree warmer challenge encourages adjusting ACs or heaters by 1 degree to reduce the energy use. The simple action cuts emission, slowing global warming and protecting melting glaciers.
Algae growth on the surface of glacier has significant effect on the glacier's ecosystem. Reduced albedo of the glacier, increased water surfaces, resulting in increased melt rates. The suggestions are installing shade-providing structures like canopies or umbrella, can block direct sunlight, introducing grazing organisms like zooplanktons and insect larvae that feed on algae can help their control. Such action shall slow their glacier melting and help preserve these vital lifeline for future generations.
Glaciers are nature's majestic giants, but they are vanishing at a very fast pace. Glaciers friendly tourism means traveling responsibly while ensuring their preservation. We can minimize our environmental footprint by choosing sustainable travel options. A travel can be sustainable when we avoid littering and manage all our waste at every spot during our tour. Such actions will educate all around, bringing a positive impact on the environment. Choose sustainable travel, respect nature, and leave no trash. Protect these icy wonders today so future generations can marvel at the grandeur tomorrow.
To protect these majestic giants, the glaciers, conservation of natural resources must begin at both micro and macro levels. Eating local foods can significantly help in preserving glaciers. On a micro level, it reduces emissions from transportation, refrigeration, and industrial farming. On a macro level, it lowers global greenhouse gas emissions, slows climate change, and reduces industrial agriculture's environmental impact. This simple choice stabilizes water cycles, protects ecosystems, and encourages eco-friendly policies. By choosing local, we directly contribute to preserving glaciers and combating climate change on both small and large scales. And now, please join us in taking a collective pledge.
I pledge to protect our glaciers, embracing every step to ensure a thriving, harmonious planet for generations to come.
Up next is Melting Tunes, a creative call to action by Kerala Public School students, urging us to preserve our glaciers and raising awareness about this critical issue. Aditya Sharma and Atulya Shreyash would set the tone with a dynamic rap. Rani Kumari would touch our hearts with a poignant poem, and finally, Rohit Bakshi would leave us all inspired with a soul-stirring song.
Yeah, I think wanna have time for right shirt. When I'm thirsty, you will be for done. This ain't better for this hard work. The glacier dying and it's all on you, yeah. Hey, and it's all on you. Save the eyes with the waves, my toes they are bleeding out. While we sitting on, it's time to fight back with the pace. Don't make face, let it bury our race. With no trace, with no trace, with no trace.
The melody of the world, oh God of the world. How can we describe the loss of beautiful eyes, which pulls us out of lives? The soundscape falling upon snow, casting an ethereal and majestic white glow. Let's take our next step, which will not be slow. Let's come together, hold each other's hand to save our Mother Earth from the melting glaciers. So let's not sit with our hands clasped, because it's time to save our exquisite land. Stop waiting for the man, instead be the one. If not, then in the vast expanse of future, we will be the ones writing our own legacy, when there will be no one to hear people's tragedy. Once fulfilling their own needs, now being acknowledged by the communities. The time will come when we will be writing our own apology letters filled with fear. The rising water is giving the cry. If we won't take our next step, the lives of the people will be dry.
Each is
Nature's music cannot hide. Glaciers beneath the sun. Ending story has just begun. Oh, glaciers beneath the sun. Ending story has just begun. River rising, sun on fire burning. Every drop that falls like rain, that's the world that sees the pain. Oh, glaciers beneath the sun. Ending story has just begun. Ending story has just begun. Ending story has just begun.
Now, for the most significant moment of the day. Now, for the most significant moment of today's event, the launch of the Glacier Gardens campaign. This campaign marks a bold step towards preserving our glaciers and protecting our planet's future. As Glacier Gardens, we aim to drive change and inspire collective action for the preservation of these vital resources.
Inspired by the Solar Man of India, Kerala Public School takes the opportunity to launch the Glacier Guardians campaign, 7 days, 7 habits, in front of this August gathering. This campaign demands small changes in our regular activities for the preservation of the water towers, the glaciers.
7 days, 7 habits. Monday has to be Warm Monday. Warm stands for wrinkles a chair. We can wear non-ironed clothes on Monday. By not ironing a pair of clothes, we can save around 100 to 200 grams of carbon dioxide emissions.
Tuesday has to be Raw Tuesday. We can skip cooking for a meal and consume raw vegetables, fruits, and sprouts. Skipping one-time cooking can save up to 600 to 1,000 grams of carbon dioxide emissions per person.
Wednesday has to be Waste-Free Wednesday. We can avoid single-use items. By not using a single paper napkin, we can save about 10 grams of carbon dioxide and also prevent the waste from going into the landfills.
Thursday has to be Power Down Thursday. We can reduce our electricity consumption by switching off devices not in use, and that will save up to 1 to 5 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions.
Friday has to be Friendly Footprint Friday. We can avoid usage of vehicles for once in a day. By avoiding a single car trip, we can save about 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide emissions.
Saturday has to be Nope Saturday. Nope stands for no purchase. We can skip unnecessary purchase. It will reduce waste as well as carbon dioxide emissions.
The last day of the week shall be a sustainable Sunday. We can take some sustainable steps that will have a positive impact on the environment, such as reuse, recycle, refurbish, or repair.
Such habitual modifications brought about by millions and billions will have a ripple impact on our immediate problem. So arise, awake, and stop not practicing the 7 habits for safeguarding the biosphere and have a sustainable future.
With this, I would like to request everyone out there to take the digital pledge of inculcating 7 days, 7 habits and join
The Glacier Guardian campaign.
The digital pledge link is posted in the chat box. I request the audience to take the pledge digitally and share the link with your friends and family. I now call Abhishek and Yashashvi to launch the app and demonstrate it.
We, the students of Kerala Public School, had planned to launch an eco-monitoring app named Islink, an app that connects students with glacier communities, enabling us to share ideas, collaborate on solutions, and to raise awareness. With support from schools and researchers, Islink can unite us in preserving glaciers and combating melting. We are thrilled to announce that IceLink, conceptualized and developed by Abhishek Tiwari of Kerala Public School, stand as a testament to the power of young minds in driving change. Abhishek will now demonstrate the app, showcasing its potential to bring real-world change. The app IceLink is user-friendly. The icon Importance of Glacier has basic information about glaciers. The icon FAQ would enable the user to know more about glaciers, along with suggestive actions which can be taken on daily basis for its preservation. The icon to-do list would help the user to prepare a list of actions to perform in order to fulfill his/her responsibility towards the environment. This app would be updated with more interesting features and games to build a strong connect between glaciers and humans. Let's leverage technology for a real impact because every small step matters when it comes to contributing in saving our glaciers.
As we close this event, let us pause and reflect on reality before the glaciers that have stood for centuries are melting away at an alarming rate. This isn't just a crisis for the environment. It's a crisis for us, for our future, for the generations yet to come. Key takeaways for this event: reduce carbon footprint, reduce waste, adopt a sustainable lifestyle, reforestation, glaciers' importance and role in existence of life, global warming due to human activities. We leave here today with more than just ideas. We leave with responsibility to call to arms for those glaciers that are often forgotten in the race for progress. Let us be the generations that refuses, let these icy giants fade into history. The fight to preserve them starts with us, right now in every moment, in every action. Our planet is counting on us. Will we answer the call? It all depends on us. Thank you everyone for your patience.